In a city where rumbas run amok and you've lost all your gelato money, two reviewers dare to
Review?
Now you messed me up. Anyway, this is Review of Mation.
Should be watching.
Your weekly review of 3 Funimation shows with your host Dojo and, as always, Jared the Wise Hobo.
So wise and so homeless.
So let's jump into it. What shows are we reviewing this week?
Tokyo Ghoul Route A.
Episode 4.
Episode 4. Assassination Classroom came back, so we'll be reviewing episode 3. And the Rolling Girls.
Okay. So why don't we start with the Assassination Classroom since it came back?
Okay.
Did you find it controversial?
No.
Enough
really.
to be delayed?
Not really.
Yeah, I think the only one scene that it might be questionable is like the beginning where they're training with the teacher, and I don't know, maybe they look like terrorists in the line with their knives.
Like little kids playing with swords.
Yeah. Well, this episode, I gotta be honest, I was really sleepy, almost falling asleep. It wasn't the show's fault or anything. It was just I was really tired. But what do you think of the episode?
It was fine.
It's fine?
Yeah.
You're still, because you
can't really get stoked on it because we've read it.
Yeah.
Not to say it's a bad show, it's just we know what's going to happen.
I had one thought about it, which was I kind of like the character of Karma better in the show than I did in the manga.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it seems like it's just lifted right out of the pages. I don't know, maybe it's because he's got a different voice than what's in my head, or I'm not overly fond of characters like him that think they're so bad and but I thought it was a little easier to take in a half hour or 23 minutes, whatever runs the show.
I did like the part, or seeing it instead of seeing it in the manga, when he builds the sandcastle.
Yes. That was hilarious.
And he's all happy over there with his tea. And the part where the kid, or he's real sad or like discouraged, and he's like punching the wall. And the kid's like, oh, his tentacle's too weak to punch through the wall.
His squishy tentacles. I like the scene where I like to see how we could see how he took the knife shards and glued them onto his hand. Karma, and then he like shook it and it like popped. That was cool.
You woke up when he said anti-me BBs on the floor.
Yes, I love anti-me's. Those are the great. Imagine if that was a Nintendo, it would kill all your me's.
It's an anti-me.
Oh no!
It's like Frieza.
Yeah, so you were saying like it's cool to see his powers translated on screen.
Yeah.
So
you get it's more impactful like this. You see how powerful
that he is. He's super fast.
Yeah. He's going Mach 20, people. Mach 20.
Can you even comprehend that?
No, I can't even. Mach 1's pretty impressive.
Mach 20 to Gelato Land.
He had to go into the upper atmosphere so it wouldn't melt.
So, I believe there's one more like little story arc from the manga, from the first manga.
Yeah.
That they have to do. Do you think that's like long enough to fit in that episode, or is it gonna go on to like the second manga?
This will probably be where we see it differentiate between the manga.
You think so?
Where they might have to fill in some parts or filler.
You don't think they'll just go on to the second volume?
They might.
Okay, so why don't we go on to the next show, which is The Rolling Girls.
The Rolling Girls.
How did you feel about this episode?
It kind of lost me at the end.
Yeah,
not lost me, but
it was a little confusing.
Yeah.
Because we really didn't get like told what was going on with the night person.
Yeah.
They just kept dropping
vague hints.
Yeah. Apparently, the Afro was her predecessor.
Yeah. And also her love interest?
Maybe. I don't know. There was might have been a love triangle going on.
Could you love a redhead Afro man.
I think it said that he was the pilot of the Twin Tower mech or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think the best part of this episode was definitely the animation.
Yeah.
Especially that first part when they're in kind of the lower levels of the city. It reminded me like of an 80s
kind of
animated film.
Kind of like Acura or Ghost in the Shell.
Or even like some American stuff like Fievel or...
Fievel. You bring up Fievel.
Stuff like that. It was like really gritty, grimy, I guess I would say. Where they did a good job of making it look like it was like a place that had been lived in and was dirty.
Yeah.
Another shot I thought was cool was when, at the very end, when she was on the phone in that phone booth.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really cool. It was almost like a Studio Ghibli type old metal contrasted with like nature and stuff like that.
And then both girls called their mom, kind of like checking in, like they're teenagers on a road trip.
I'm okay, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
then I like the interaction between the girls talking about like their band, their favorite band.
Yes, kind of bonding.
Yeah.
Because earlier in the episode, they were kind of like yelling at each other.
Yeah.
About being strong and doing stuff, not just running away.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a cool conversation between Chia and her mom. Mm-hmm. Where she was like, she asked her, why are you together?
Yeah. And she even said, you love him more than me.
Yeah. So that was dramatic, I guess.
Do you like the Roombas? Are they kind of cute?
The They're just Roombas. I don't know.
Just circles that glide.
So we got kind of like, we were kind of left unsatisfied with the story of the night.
Yeah.
But the story of her assistant was kind of better.
Yeah.
Because she turned out to be the Dynamite Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Even though she's a girl.
Because she didn't want the night to quit.
Yeah.
She like created this danger for her to keep protecting the city. And
then she became the new knight.
Yeah, she got passed down. And that was another cool scene when the knight got the stone back and kind of gave her power.
Yeah, and it kind of confirmed that the stones do give you power, or that's the power source for these special, or what did they call them? Elite people or something like that?
Oh, I forget what they're called. That's like all the first episodes.
Yeah.
Ah, shoot. The best... Something
special people.
They're not specials. But yeah, so going on, maybe we get this road trip, find more of these special people, find more stones, get a little more backstory into like what's going on in this world.
Yeah.
What was up with the vigilantes and stuff like that.
Vigilantes.
So, do you have anything more to say about that show?
Not really. No.
So why don't we go on to Tokyo Ghouls.
Route A.
Okay, so I gotta be honest with you guys again.
Stop it.
Stop. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but this was my least favorite episode of the season so far.
Really?
Yeah.
It was Alex's favorite.
Alex, friend of the podcast, Select Your Player podcast. It's just the fighting really threw me off. Because they had these instances where, like, they didn't feel like they were connecting. They were just kind of pushing people or something like, and people were like kind of floating away after being hit.
Open palm fighting, Joseph.
It really just took me out of the story.
You know what kind of took me out? Yeah. During the fight, or the animation on this one, with like the bad guy, that Orca guy.
Yeah, the guy that was in...
He looked completely different from the rest
of the show.
He looked like he was drawn like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I liked his look.
It wasn't bad. It was just drastically different from the rest of the show.
Yeah. Even with that fight, which I thought was like the best of the fighting that was going on, there was still some weird floating going on.
Maybe there's no gravity down there.
I don't know. And another thing that kind of made me angry was during the fight where Akira was getting attacked.
Yeah. Oh, and Amon just stood there and watched?
Yeah, he saw her and he's like, I'm gonna bite her, and he doesn't like do anything.
And he wasn't like fighting anyone else, he was just like watching.
Yeah, because everyone was watching their team, and I guess it was a solo fight. It was just understood that you would not interrupt this fight.
This is her battle.
But yeah, I would have jumped in, I guess.
Yeah.
We also got a fight between that guy with the weird hair and
the senior police officer.
Yeah, and he was taking on Toka's brother, which is
Ayato,
something like that.
No, and that is that.
Okay, and then he mentions that like that's where his dad went.
Yeah,
when he puts on the armor. So or not maybe, but that's his dad now. They use his dad to make that armor. Mm-hmm. Maybe his mom for the other one, but you said that we haven't really seen his mom or something.
They haven't really mentioned her.
Yeah. So,
how did you feel about that one character, Amon's like foster father?
Oh yeah, the ghoul that was in there, and he's like, "I don't like you" or something. Yeah, you know, we get all these like. We only get very few sympathetic ghouls, even though I think we're supposed to be very sympathetic.
It sounded like you said sympatheticals.
We always get like these dark ghoul characters that we don't want to like, but the show keeps telling us to like the ghouls because they're like the X-Men. They're persecuted.
No, I wish you would not use X-Men all the
time. There was another thing. Maybe it was involving Yuze. Is that Juze?
Juzo?
Okay. When he's got those twins with that brings up the possibility that maybe he is like half ghoul, or maybe
some ghoul.
They've been experimented on.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we left our humanity, and he kind of like laughed it off.
Yeah.
So maybe these three have been experimented on by either the ghouls or the humans.
Yeah.
And
how did you feel about Kaneki at the end, where he had like a tail now, almost like a centipede looking thing, and then he had like a ghoul mask?
Yeah, his
power
face changed or something. Yeah, he's like transforming again, just like right after we saw him transform.
And do you think it's possible that it's because he ate Jason?
Oh, that's a good.
Because if you remember, his was like a tail, and he did have some like that as well.
Oh yeah, so that's a good.
So he's like the Mega Man of ghouls.
Wow, that's good. I like that. Yeah, so maybe he will have less control over this form than he does of the other two.
This will be like his power form.
Or maybe he takes on the personalities of who he eats.
Yeah.
Kind of. We also kind of learn his motivation, which is to protect the coffee drinkers by getting
the
stronger.
Coffee drinkers.
Protect the coffee drinkers by getting stronger.
Darn you, Starbucks. I love you.
Where do you think the show is going next? We're just gonna like run away from that fight?
I don't think he'll run away. We'll probably see a real fast fight, like knocks him out almost, because he's so dang powerful. Or he might not even do anything. He might get beat up still to like an unconscious point, and they just drag him away. Mm-hmm. And then we'll probably go back to those coffee drinkers.
See what they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are you doing, coffee drinkers?
Or maybe we even get Hyde talking to ladies.
Good work, lady.
Good work, ladies.
What do you want? Like, which direction do you want the show to go in? You want like it's like non-stop fighting, or
like a battle amongst the city?
Yeah.
Or just like the full force of the CCG and I never know how to say their group. Ogiri or whatever it's called.
now that he's like in that Agiri group, or do you think he's gonna try to take it out from the inside, or do you think he'll just like try to reform it?
I don't think he's gonna. I think he's gonna try to reform it because he wants both sides to see the good in each other, that they're the same, but the ghouls just eat people.
No, they drink coffee.
Yeah, they drink people coffee.
Who do you think's like gonna end up like the main antagonist for this season?
I like our theory about the Bandage Girl actually being the mastermind, and that the owl is just a front for the group. Yeah, she's really like the brains or the head.
That would make sense because she's a novelist.
She writes good stories.
Which are the ultimate evil, I guess. So yeah, what would you say? What rank the shows this week and tell me which one's your favorites?
I'm probably gonna say Assassination Classroom, even though it's not a bad show. It's just we've read it.
Is your least favorite?
Yeah, at number 3. Just because I know what happened, and then the Rolling Girls. Just because the story didn't grab me.
Yeah.
It would win alone just on art because it's beautiful, but it just wasn't all there.
Beautiful.
But I'd have to go with Tokyo.
Tokyo number 1.
You confused me.
Math. For me, I go with the Rolling Girls. Rolling Girls on top, just because I like the world, I like the art.
Why do we when we do this? I go from least favorite to the most, and you go from most to least.
Because you bring them up, and I knock them down.
Dang.
Assassination Classroom number 2. And then Tokyo Ghoul. It just didn't sit right with me, the action.
You don't sit right.
Yeah, so guys, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
We're on Facebook, so find us there and like us. Not only find us, like us. Subscribe to both Coneheads and Select Your Player on YouTube.
Find me on Twitter at Coneheads.
Jared Ariano at Coneheads. And then I think that's all we're on.
Yeah.
Tumblr. Are we Tumblr? I don't even know.
I don't think we are. We're not on Tumblr. Stop promoting that.
Even less is Reddit.
Oh. If you can find it.
We have like a web page. It's like
WordPress.
Yeah, selectyourplayer.wordpress.com, where I review some old dubbed shows every Sunday. I'm trying. I just did Log Horizon.
It's
not that old, but
I'll do one here in a second.
Yeah.
Probably on my day off. I'll because I just finished one, and I really enjoyed it, so I want to kind of
talk about
give you my opinion.
Yeah, and maybe we'll do some special crunchy reviews of just like shows we've watched this season.
Yeah.
Which I'm only watching one. No, I'm watching 2 shows. Okay, so we could do a couple of those. So, thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.